So I want to take a moment and just talk about the two big speeches. I mean, there are plenty of great speeches in Henry V, but the two big ones are Henry's speech at Harfleur when he is talking to the men. This is Act 3, Scene 1. We're trying to storm Harfleur. My old collected works here. Once more into the breach, dear friends. Once more, close up the wall with our English dead. In peace, there's nothing so becomes a man as modest stillness and humility, but when the blast of war blows in our ears, then imitate the action of a tiger. And then he goes on to tell his men how to actually imitate the action of a tiger. He's actually trying to translate or his words that he's giving them into action, telling them to stiffen their sinews, conjure up the blood, disguise the fair nature, and so on and so on. In between, pick up line 17, he's also urging them to this sense of nationalism or patriotism. On, you noblest English, whose blood is fet from fathers of war-proof fathers that, like so many Alexanders, have in these parts from more until even fought and sheathed their swords for lack of argument. And this is tricky, of course, in England, as it is in almost any culture when you're trying to build a sense of patriotism and nationalism. Anytime someone says we're all into this together, we need to fight together, you start to think of the inequalities or inequities that exist in normal times and say, who is this we we're talking about? So Henry V is constantly having to appeal to a we-ness, a collective nature that really doesn't exist in reality. And you good yeomen, you kind of poor people, working people, whose limbs were made in England, show us here the mettle of your pasture. Let us swear that you are worth your breeding, which I doubt not, for there is none of you so mean and base that has not noble lustre in your eyes. In short, today, while I need you to fight, you are all noblemen. And then the game's afoot. This is where Sherlock Holmes gets his famous, stir to action. Pops up in all the Conan Doyle stories of Sherlock Holmes. The game's afoot. Follow your spirit, and upon this charge, cry God for Harry, England, and St. George. Talked about this a little bit again briefly. The history plays. Shakespeare got to start with the history plays. They really were where he made a success. But the 1590s was a boom time for a sense of nationalism or patriotism. Queen Elizabeth had defeated the Spanish Armada in 1518. She actually got a bit of luck. The Catholic Spanish Empire was coming to take over England and got caught in a big storm, and Sir Francis Drake and some other English ships cleaned up the rest. But little old England, for the first time, had a sense of itself as a nation and a great international military victory, which spurred a certain amount of patriotism.